Hi everyone, the topic I'm going to cover today, I'm sure many of you will find very practical and useful and something that you are dealing with in your day-to-day work, and it's how to answer the question, is this if this is a tall building site or not. And if you think about it, this question actually has two sub-questions. The first one is this site appropriate for a tall building in terms of its context? And the second question is, could a tall building fit on this site? So to answer the first question, there are several tools in order to know if this is inappropriate in terms of its context and if this is a site that the city would identify as a tall building site. So if you think about it, and I covered some of these aspects already, and maybe I would do a deeper dive one day, but it's a lot about the land use map, secondary plan, the structure map, map 2 of the official plan, the context, transit, how far the site is from neighborhoods or parks or other sensitive uses. And it's this kind of a longer list to know if it is an appropriate site for a tall building. But the other thing is a simple geometry question. So let's see how we first of all measure things and where we can access this type of information. So I showed this tool in the past. You go to map.toronto.ca, and this is the city's website, and you can zoom in or type the address of the site and then zoom in until you see the pink property lines. And then on the left hand side, you can take the measure tool and measure by clicking on two different dots, and then double click on the second one, and you will see the dimension in meters on the left side again. One of the most useful resources I highly recommend you would be familiar with is the City of Toronto Tall Building Design Guidelines. So we know that the floor plate of a tall building, the maximum recommended by the guidelines is 750 square meters. So if you think about it, you have a set of different rectangles that would give you that floor plate. So the other thing that the guidelines direct is the setbacks and separation distance between the side property lines, front side property lines, and the rear property line. So you see, this is how it becomes this really simple exercise of just measuring the site, knowing the guidelines, and seeing if a floor plate of a tall building could even fit the site. Now, while I'm covering the City of Toronto's tall building design guidelines, each municipality has its own or little tweaks. So I'll give you two simple examples. While the City of Toronto allows a floor plate of 750 square meters, and the separation distance between two tall buildings should be 25 meters. The City of Markham, for example, allows for a floor plate of 800 square meters, however, requires a distance of 40 meters between two tall buildings. So I highly recommend that if you know that you work in a certain municipality, be familiar with the specific design guidelines of the municipality. They are very similar, however, each of them has its own unique tweaks and requirements. So obviously every site is different, and some of them have really unique conditions, and sometimes you actually see really creative solutions. However, I do find that this tool is a quick tool to understand what you're looking at, and once you understand the numbers and the dimensions that are required, it makes it much easier. So I hope you learned something new today, and see you next week.